background music isn't working. Apparently I don't have a totally ripping off barnacles anymore. Boom. And I have to turn on a fan.
Oh, whoa!
I almost hurt you. Let's see. Alrighty. Chop chop. Chop suey. Yeah, and I haven't done this in a while. If you're wondering why I'm looking up, it's because I have a TV mounted to the wall now. Yeah, I'm high tech. And if you're wondering why the camera angle is so weird, it's because I have to get a better, longer HDMI cable. Oh, and look, new headphones. I think I showed these off in my last gaming stream. Let's see. Yes, I can hear stuff. I probably need to bring in my Audio Technicas, though, honestly, because yeah, actually, that's not too bad. I think we'll be okay. Just so I can hear Drama for Mama a bit better, and just, you know, the ambience and such. Do I look okay right now? Am I looking at the camera right now? I don't know, because yeah, you'd really have to see the position. I might post it on Twitter. I'm considering it, because you know, I just ran into a pickle with this super short HDMI cable, but it works, so you can't really complain about that, right? I am going to find you all some music, so you don't riot and everything. I know that my fans love to riot when I am rude to them. No copyrighted sounds, aka NCS. Let's play that frickin' playlist. And then add in a properties. This needs to, instead of being a local file, it needs to be an audio input capture. Hello. Audio input capture. No, audio output capture. So silly. Awesome, there we go. Now you have some music up in the house. Alright.
I had a student who had recently had a birthday, and he came with this teeny, I forgot to ask what brand name it was, but it was a speaker that was this big around, it was this tall, it was the teeniest little thing, you could hide it in your hands. But it was loud.
Those things can push out a lot of sound.
I went like this, because I could hold it in my hands like this, and then you'd open it up, and it would be amazing loud.
You like that TV?
Isn't that cool?
That's our preview. I want to post a picture of that on Twitter, because I think that'd be interesting for those fanos. That kind of sound like I said Thanos.
Los fans.
Thanos. Los Thanos. I don't know why I said that. But speaking of, I don't know why I said that. Do you think we're ready to begin this stream?
Well,
First stream of 2020.
Let's kick it. First stream of 2020, and it's the 17th
that's
of
the thing
January.
that you do. That's the thing you do on like the first week of January.
Yeah.
But no, we're like the third week of January
Good
or whatever.
Lord, we've been busy. Actually, you've been sick.
I was sick, and I was busy, and then I was sick of being busy, and then everything kinda stopped.
I think I'm getting sick. I need to take some oregano.
Alright,
Ooh, oh my gosh! On that screen, it's amazing.
Look at us.
It's 2020, baby. Wow.
So how do I look? Am I looking into the camera right now?
Well, you were looking at me, but yes, you're looking into the camera
Okay,
right
good.
now. That's kind of cool.
Because if you notice, the camera's all weird, but it somehow looks fine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Draw
I
for
can't
Mama's
stop
just
looking at
yeah,
it.
she's just gonna be looking at
Yeah,
that all stream.
You're just gonna see this
That's-
part of my face.
That's all I
want
want
to see.
That's all I want to do, honestly.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
I unfortunately haven't been able to use that setup too much because I got it put in like the 30th of December.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna
And
be my
bam.
2020.
You were sick.
Yeah, I literally got
You were
sick
sick.
that night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
you
night
were
when I was
feeling
putting
sick
it up.
When you were putting
Mhm.
it in, and then boom.
And
you
then
were
after
sick.
that, I won't go into details because that would gross everyone out.
It
It
was
grossed me out.
It was a tummy ailment. Let's just leave it at
Yeah,
that.
but it lasted until like January 4th, January 5th. So it was a gruesome, horrible, like 5-6 days.
Yeah, I had to keep you hydrated. That's about all I could do.
And I couldn't really eat anything.
Mm-mm.
I didn't feel hungry. That was the weird thing. It wasn't that I didn't want to eat anything. It's that I didn't have the need to eat anything. And eating stuff was repulsive to me. It's like, why would I want to eat something? And it just...
Sounds like diabetes.
It
Juvenile diabetes.
was not funny. I mean, it was not funny. It was not fun. That's what I was going to say.
Nor was it funny.
It wasn't
laughable
funny,
either.
but I was going to say it wasn't
But it
fun.
was a disease.
Hey, Jacob, happy 2020 to you too.
Jacob! I don't know who Jacob is. Has Jacob been online with us before? Have you
Yes, I
streamed with
believe
us before?
not streamed with us, but Boogie's
sorry I
Boogie's
said that
Minecraft
so-
server
Oh,
co-mod.
yes.
long time ago. And
happy
then
2020. Isn't that weird that we're wishing you a happy 2020 17 days late?
I know.
I mean, because I
it
did the
hasn't
whole,
set
like,
in just
7
yet.
days later because I'm just getting back to work. Obviously, I teach, but so I'm just getting back to work because of the weekends and the days off that we have. You're not going to go back to school on a Thursday normally.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wishing everybody a happy new year 7 days into January, but now it doesn't feel like you should be wishing people that.
Well, I never really had a New Year.
You guys are writing 2020, the full 2020 out. They've warned us that people
On
can
checks,
put,
on checks, you
on
need
checks,
to do that.
because people can put and on official documents that require a date. Don't just
Okay,
write
I need to make
1
sure that
17 20. You need to write 1 17 20 20 because they can fill in 2019 or 2018 or 2017.
2016, 2021.
2021, although I don't think that would work too well.
You'd
need to
have to be a
celebrate a
pretty
little.
stupid scammer if you wrote in 2021, right?
Yeah, you'd be kind of. You're gonna pay me this in 2021.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be kind of silly. So we need to celebrate a little bit because we've been trying to sell my dad's trailer. We renovated it. It was in kind of bad shape when we didn't inherit it, but when Dad's estate became the family's estate, and so we didn't have a whole lot of time to renovate it because my free time is generally during the summer. So we spent on and off, 1 day a week during the weekend over there, and it was a battle to fix it. We had electrical problems. We had water
Back in
difficulty.
October, I think.
We had
it all flooded out.
It was very
it
cold.
was a nightmare.
There was a very cold snap, and there was no electricity, and so it was very cold to work over there. And so it took us longer than what we had anticipated, but it turned out to be quite beautiful. It was
did.
a labor of love, and it turned out to be quite a nice renovation.
But it didn't
And
really. We didn't get a good real estate agent. That was
never
the problem.
really took off. Yeah, I think that because we finally had a couple that came to look at it specifically. They came to the park and said, "This is the place, the only place that we want to look at. Please let us take a look." And they loved it, and they said, "Well, this is it." And she said, "Well, I can show you some other places."
Look at the other
So
ones.
we're wondering, we're wondering if she was not, because she always would say it shows very well, but then I think she would use that trailer as a segue into perhaps a trailer that wasn't as nice, but was a lot larger and at approximately the same price. And then she would say, and you can fix this one up, and then you'll have this nicer trailer and you'll have X square footage. And I don't know what exactly it was that she was doing, but I think we're this close to finally getting it sold.
Mhm.
So we're gonna celebrate in 2020.
Yep, it's a
Ka-ching.
nice check.
Ka-ching.
That's basically all you get out of that, right?
Mm.
Just a check.
Yeah, and the fact that it's no longer a place that you get to go to and visit, and
You know. Well, when was the
it's
last
now
time
a
we
memory.
went to it and visited, though?
quite a while ago.
So, yeah.
And visited 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Has it been 3 years?
Since Grandpa passed? 2 years.
2 years. So, but 2 years ago,
It was kind of off and on.
yeah, we would not have visited because Grandpa was in the hospital, in the hospital, in the hospital, in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. No, anyway.
Well, anyway,
So-
happy flippin' New Year.
So there's been a lot of stuff going on with the IB track for me.
Uh-huh.
The IB track, it's not a track.
It's not a track, it's a program.
So I always have to explain this.
Programmee, if you're
I always-
really being right?
I always have to explain this to people. IB is a type of curriculum that's offered in many different levels. I'm doing the diploma program, which is for basically juniors and seniors in American high schools, I guess grade 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that converts out for you Brits, but it's
You
a
Brits.
really cool program because it doesn't just look at academics, it also looks at kind of like the whole student, and that's through.
I tell you, that is
You're
so
trying.
far away.
You're trying to read the chat,
Yeah, I made
but-
a Mixer account today. Just
but it looks.
today.
It looks. Can I?
I'm sorry.
It looks at the entire student through this program called CAS, Community
Action
Service. And that's what I'm really starting to work on now. Last semester, I was all worried about getting into IB, getting all the clubs sorted out at school, and just finding my place my junior year.
Footing, breath.
But this year, I'm really trying to focus on like all the other attributes, not just the academics, even though I really want to do a lot better in academics,
Right.
because I fell pretty short by a good 1-2 points last year.
1 or 2 points
Mhm.
fully.
Well, I haven't calculated how much I fell short, but I fell short in chemistry and Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
as I expected. Not in chemistry, but in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a really hard class. Like take this. Try and learn a language, only 90 minutes every other day, and allot yourself 1 year, excluding June, July, 2 weeks in December, a week in March, and a week in Thanksgiving, and give you 2 years. Sorry, not 1 year, 2 years to do that, and then see if you can read, write, and analyze that language, speak in that language professionally and academically. See if you can do that.
Yeah.
I know that would take like 2.5, 3 years to do, but
Well, yeah, and
it'd be
because
pretty
it's-
hard.
And because it's an IB program, it's not like Spanish monolingual or Spanish bilingual. It's a Spanish for
Class.
mono or Spanish for
Any lingual.
bilingual.
Basically
any
bilingual. Just
But it's basically bilingual. They expect that you're able to
speak
comprehend
it.
the language. In
They
verbally,
also-
and,
they-
and audibly and
And I guess I need to. They recognize
Visually.
that it's a second language. But being a second language doesn't just mean that it's going to be for monolinguals. That just means that it's. You could speak Spanish fluently, but as a second language.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So there's just a lot of extra time that you put into that particular class, and
Not necessarily
unfortunately,
time
yeah,
that I
unfortunately
choose to
it's-
put
and
in.
well, yeah, but unfortunately, it's a high stress, and stress never really helps when you're trying to be.
And it's like I still
Clear.
have an A, but an A isn't enough for me.
It's got to be a number, not
has
a
to
letter.
be a
It has to be a
99.
number. Yeah, it has to be a number, not a
100.
letter, because
Preferably
everybody
100.
that's tracked are all of the top level kids, and you're really trying to maintain your
Mm-hmm.
position,
But like the
which is
so
tough. Which is
because
hard.
I guess for
It's
context,
so-
I am the number one person right now. I don't flex. I guess I don't know what people say about that. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying like for context, like your grade point average matters a lot more when it's only a few points between you
Number
being number
one and-
one and scholarships, you being number two and not as many scholarships.
Not as many
That makes sense,
scholarships,
you know.
yeah.
Not as
And
many
when you're trying-
colleges.
and when you're trying to position yourself into a prestigious school, you want to make sure that you have as much clout as what you can
Exactly.
academically.
But I know that
And-
the salutatorian got a B in Spanish.
Okay.
And she's in my same class. So,
Okay.
but she probably did better in the science class just because
She's
I
in
had
a
a really
different science
difficult.
classes, yeah.
And I think that I talked about this on one of my gaming streams. So, not easy. Hold on one second. Hey, Stoned Explorer, I didn't see you there.
Stoned Explorer, that's a wild name.
I know. You trying to be the next Elon Musk? I
don't know.
Not too much into the
I
rockets
don't
and
know.
the cars.
Yeah, you're not much of an engineer, otherwise you'd have been at a different place. But yeah, you love your computers,
Yeah,
I
I'm into the
suppose.
computers, I'm into the networks and the codes and the
Yeah,
all that crap.
probably more like a Bill Gates.
Probably more like Steve Wozniak.
A Steve Wozniak.
Not a Steve Jobs or a Bill Gates because
Not
they
a
were just
Elon Musk.
the business man. Bill Gates is a piece of crap. He's a business person.
Oh, he's a
Steve Jobs
businessman.
was a businessman, but he was a visionary also. Did you see that light flicker?
I did, and then I saw that this went like, I really like the screen here.
Yeah, for context,
Man,
there's a big
That's
screen
wild, yeah.
up above.
that's new.
Stone-
New for 2020.
Stone said, "There you go."
There you go. Yep, there you
Yeah,
go.
you always have to have a plan. That's
Steve
the thing.
Wozniak.
Like
There
if
you
you
go.
don't start out and do all this crap without a plan, you're just gonna get lost.
That's right. You
That's
gotta
the-
have a where you going. There's always gotta be a where
And
you
it's
going.
like I don't know exactly what career exactly in what specific area I want to do, but I know that I want to do something with development and computer science and computer code.
Yeah, and I think it's about the journey, and I think that if you don't step forward in the journey with a passion, then and that's what your passion
But you also,
is, right?
but you also don't want to set these expectations for yourself and disappoint yourself. That's the problem.
No, but disappointment only comes when you haven't tried
Just keep
your
pressing
best.
goals. So thank you, JYB.
JYB.
JYB. I wonder what that stands for. Nice name. Nice comment. Thank you. Nice way
Yeah.
to start off 2020,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It is a great way of doing that. So, what do you want to talk about tonight?
I guess I wanted to talk about this. We count. That's what we're calling it.
Oh, we count.
It's about our school, trying
We
to
count?
make sure that we know how to count.
We
7, 10,
matter. We matter. We matter.
I think they could have came up with a better name.
Yeah, we
But
matter.
it's about awareness. It's about community awareness, self-awareness, good study habits, crap like that.
Jakob is following. Woohoo!
Yeah, thank you for the follow, JYB, and thank you
I
for the
can't do
follow,
this.
Jacob.
I can't do this.
Is that a Fortnite dance?
I'm not doing it.
That's
not doing-
disgraceful.
Yeah. How's
No,
that?
Nobody likes Fortnite. Everyone likes Minecraft, though. Comrade.
Everybody loves Minecraft.
Comrade. Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever.
I'm indoctrinating you into my dictatorship, communist propaganda.
Gotcha. I won't mention it. Won't mention it physically, audibly. Won't mention it.
Guess I've been reading.
Comrade.
I've been reading too much Orwell, haven't I?
I think you have groupthink. Okay. So we count. Tell me about it.
It's basically a committee with kids that are.
We're frozen.
And then, oh wait, we're frozen. Oh yeah, we are frozen. Woo! I love it when we're
Jakob
frozen.
said it's the Cabbage Patch dance. I'm doing the
I think
Cabbage
it's
Patch.
called the Cabbage Patch. Oh god. I don't support of anything like that. Uh-oh.
You're in mid swallow.
Oh,
Mid drink.
no. Okay, yep.
Mid sip.
We are trouble. We have a known issue, and we are trying actively to fix it. See, like that thing does stuff, but it's just my cam link. I need to deactivate or reactivate the frickin' cam link. Let's see. And so where is the cam link thing? Deactivate, boom, activate. Boom! I fixed it. I fixed it. Can you believe it?
You fixed it.
See, I've done a lot of tutorials on stuff like that.
So we had a
'Cause
pep rally.
I always run into the problems. I love technology.
Can I show our new
That'll probably reveal the school.
Well, can I put my thumb right there and show this?
Well, that'll probably reveal the students in the back.
Oh, good night,
So,
sweet prince.
I guess we can describe the mascot because
Well, we
she
don't
teaches
need to,
she
but
teaches
I
at both a
like the
junior high
mascot.
and a high
The
school.
mascot is really nice. I
And
like
it's a nice mascot. And they even have an inflatable blow up mascot. That's actually a nice selfie.
Was that? I think the light was right.
Yeah, let me show them.
No,
I'm showing
no,
them.
No, no, I wanted to show the Spartan. I wanted.
Yeah,
The
the
mascot
mascot of the school is a Spartan.
Is a
Okay,
Spartan.
I bet
There we
that
go.
1,000 schools have
There's
the
a
mascot.
billion schools.
Yeah,
with
it's
that
it's not an
mascot, but-
original thing.
No, I know. Anyway, you were in the middle of week count, and then we froze.
Yep.
We
Okay,
count,
so we
we
count,
froze. We count,
we freeze.
We
Okay.
freeze.
Let me regain my train of thought.
I think it was
So,
the Cabbage Patch dance. It
Yeah.
made the camera
So-
all go.
divided into a bunch of tiers: political awareness, community awareness, self-awareness, school awareness, social media awareness. There's so much that we're doing, and I don't even freaking know.
So why didn't you say
It's
we
kinda
away?
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
what you should have called it.
It's basically
we away.
I think that we should have called it the Our School Awareness Committee.
Yeah.
So the
OSAW.
OSAC.
OSAC.
Because we're basically a committee. Let's think about that.
OSAC.
What I like about it,
OSAC.
OSAC,
OSAC.
or it'd be like the WUSAC.
WSAC. I don't think that should have been No, but we count. I think you could have come up with something slightly.
We
better.
didn't come up with the name.
Well, of course you didn't.
It was our fearless administrator, who's quite a moron.
Oh my.
And I do not enjoy her company whenever she meets with us.
Aww.
But I do enjoy the responsibility that comes with it.
Oh.
Because we're meeting in an actual conference room. Like the actual conference room where administrators meet in. I don't know why they've always oiled the desk though. Like that thing, you touch it and it smears because it's oiled. It's the oddest thing.
Jeez, it's Formica, isn't it?
The what?
Do we have to oil Formica? I don't think you oil Formica.
What's Formica?
I don't know which conference room you're talking about. You've probably been in a place much more elite than what I have.
It's the administration
access to.
conference room in the main building.
By the nurse's office?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, yeah, that's kind of a slick table. Slick as in slippery, not as in slick.
Why would they make a slippery table? That's stupid.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I don't
the stuff
think
that we
too much
talk
about the
about in
table.
that conference room, I know I thought too much about the table tonight. But the stuff that we actually talk about in the conference room is what counts, just like us.
Oh,
And
what counts?
We're planning out this
We
week.
count.
We're planning out this week that's going to be full of fun activities. And the second you say we're planning out a week full of fun activities, I freak out because for TSA, which is the organization that is part of technology students.
It's the one that matters. It's the one that counts.
Yes, but I always try and do stuff over a week like I'm doing next week and the week after, and I haven't even organized yet. It's going to be hard. But it's just hard to organize all that because you have to get teachers on board, you have to get administrators on board, and most importantly, you have to get students on board.
So how do you?
And they don't care about stuff. Like when they get to school, all they care about is either school, their boyfriends or girlfriends, or nothing. That's the reality of it. So when you're trying to give all these extracurriculars and stuff like that, it's just kind of difficult to get their attention.
He's from Ireland.
Hey folks, hello from Ireland.
Ireland.
Oh, awesome.
Well, hello from America.
America. F yeah.
Yeah, I know. And when you've got kids that really do, there's so much. I mean, it's so complex. To be a teacher nowadays is so complex, and you've got to earn a status, and then with that status, you've just got to keep at that student as a whole. You know, you've got to educate every faction of a student. You can't just educate their mind. You got to educate their heart. You got to educate their their heart in emotional ways and their heart in physical ways, and you've got to educate their soul, and you've got to educate. There's so much that goes into it, and that's I think what you're facing when you say you're doing a week of fun activities. Do you mean that you're going to be taking them out of the classroom, or are you going to be taking them out of
right now? It's just
that
a
fun
bunch
little
of
hour that you have where you get to do play fun things, or
and right now it's just a bunch of seminars, and I don't like that because I know from experience that when you give a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, nobody wants to listen to you. Nobody.
Especially when you're a kid.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want to listen to a student speaker like that. And
well, it's interesting
it kind of goes back.
That you're speaking with a curriculum director who should know, be at least very knowledgeable, that if the students that you're trying to address are students that need that motivation, that throwing a PowerPoint at them probably is not the greatest idea. What's going on
so
there?
At least for what I'm responsible of, I just really need to start brain thinking. I just made up a new word, brain thinking.
We got a new follower.
Yeah, thank you for the follow, Reek. 493.
No, I can't say it.
That's my best interpretation of that name.
Reek.
There you go.
That's a nice sound effect.
But anyways, I'm really trying to think of like innovative and fun things that they can do versus just sitting through a PowerPoint. So
can you make the PowerPoint interactive so that they can like upvote and do?
Yeah, that's what came to mind right now. Like Kahoots. I don't know if any of you guys are students right now. Who knows? I'm interested. Are you in school? Have you been in school recently, or are you not in school?
Chilling.
Are you skipping? So I'm just kidding. I know there's one kid today that they were like, oh well, I saw him right before third period, but he wasn't in third period, and then in fourth period he came in late. So we're like, are you skipping? It's like the Minecraft villager.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's an interesting thing when you're a student, but you're given the role to be more like a teacher.
Well, I suppose they're wondering from like the
Yeah,
perspective.
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure that they're wondering like from the perspective of students what's going on. So how many people are on this? What counts? What we count?
I believe 6.
How many people count?
Only 6 people count.
Only 6 people count.
Out of the whole class.
But we're gonna try to recruit more people to count. Oh no!
But the problem that we are running into is these people are at least aware that we don't have a great class, and there's a lot of kids that don't really care about these activities that we're planning. They already know that they're not going to care, so they said, well, why don't we try and invite like a collective. I misspoke and then I tried to speak again and I misspoke again. That's how out of practice I am. But why don't we try to recruit?
Tongue-tied and twisted.
Why don't we try and recruit students that are good? Maybe like take a survey from teachers or whatever and only invite them. But the problem is that we want to make sure that the entire school counts. That's the thing. Every single student at the school counts. That's the purpose of the club. So you can't just take select students and just brush off the rest. If that makes sense. We might want to, for some activities, take select students.
I feel kind of bad if I didn't count. It's kind of like when somebody walks into the room and says, nobody's here yet. And I'm like,
and it's...
What am I? Chopped liver, I'm somebody. I count.
Kind of.
But they always say nobody's here, meaning, I'm the first student to arrive.
Exactly.
No other students are here.
I'm sorry if I'm getting a bunch of winds in my microphone. The pop filter, the thing that should take out all these winds, fell off.
Winds.
Yeah, I'm calling winds.
Oh.
RIP headphone user. Sorry about that. But
winds.
What was I going on? I think that we were about like everybody counts. The thing is, there's the club at our school. I guess you'd consider it a club called Pearl, and it's like this women's empowerment club thing. And they have a Pearl Week where they invite all the girls from all these different classes. First of all, if you're a boy, like, it makes sense why you'd be excluded, but you still kind of feel like, yeah, who cares about Pearl Week? But the other problem is that I believe on like a Thursday or something, they only have select girls, like the better girls, go and have this luncheon and stuff like that.
Yeah, as a teacher, have to select which girls you think should deserve to go more, or who are more deserving.
And it's like you
and
just
it's
kind of
not
feel
necessarily who are more deserving. It's like who do you think might benefit the most from going? We can't invite all of them, but we want to invite the ones that we think that we can impact the most.
But you still feel out of, like, excluded still.
Yep.
And that's the
people
I
who have the
understand.
golden ticket, though, Charlie.
I
The people who have the
why.
golden ticket feel very accomplished.
I understand why, but it's just we want to avoid that.
Oh,
So it's difficult to plan this out, and it's difficult to see exactly what we're gonna do. But
Hajar
we're doing
wants to know how our day has been. Oh, you don't want to ask that question. I had the worst day today.
well, I had a pretty good day. I wrote about 1,000 words in English class and about 4.5 handwritten pages in history, and I
IB is a lot of
made
writing.
a lot
isn't
of knowledge questions, and I did a lot of statistics.
it? Knowledge or IB is a lot of writing.
What is writing? Define writing in your context. No, this is theory of knowledge right
To
here.
the extent of
To what extent does writing encompass one's personal knowledge? To what extent does written information constitute one's shared knowledge of a culture? Take out culture. That's wrong.
shared knowledge.
Because that's a second area
shared
of
knowledge.
knowledge.
Is part of that inquiry.
Because we have to divide the knowledge subsection into two different categories: ways of knowing, or the walks as I like to call them, and the areas of knowledge, or the ox.
Walk this way.
You always have a bunch of 80 songs to reference, don't you?
I suppose. That's all I have to contribute. I did have
But
a terrible
the
day.
funny
I'm
thing-
glad though that you had this, because I think your day was good because it challenged your ability to express yourself in a way that
it
you
doesn't
feel
mean
really.
that I was writing good stuff. It just means that I was writing. You know?
Well, yeah, but I think that that's
Well, thank you for the positive vibes, Hajar. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think that that writing is a mechanism that you enjoy. I think that you do it well, and I think that you enjoy doing it, and so I'm glad that your day was blessed by that. I'm sure that there are a lot of people going, "Oh, I had to write and write and write."
Oh
and I
yeah,
feel
you
my
want to
brain
see
is going
you
to
want to
break."
see my hand.
Yeah, your hand is real swollen.
You
Really?
can't
Really?
really see it.
Like
Hold
writing,
on.
yeah. It's you got to show this part. Yeah, it's right
You
here.
can't see it, but like when I look at it, there's a big lump,
Yeah.
like right here, that you shouldn't have. I don't
It's
have
the
that
muscle
lump
where
on
you
my
were
left
gripping
hand.
right here. It's
Yeah,
you're getting
because
all
I-
flexed.
Yeah, some people have good muscles right here.
Right here, you got one
and
right
good
there
chest
between
muscles.
your thumb and your ratting finger.
Yep, that's the only athletics that I'm
index.
good at. But let me show you. I hold on to the pencil like a lot of people just hold on to it weak like this, but I always hold on to it really hard. And you get indents in your thumb.
Start doing that then.
Yeah, you get
huh?
indents in your thumb.
Hey,
You
doctor,
can tell that
it
you've
hurts
been
when I do this. Well, then don't do that.
you can tell when you've been
That's
writing a
logic.
lot because you get a callus on your thumb,
oh,
and it gets
Lord.
all you can
No, I
push
get
it
a callus
down.
on my naughty finger.
And then yes, that happens
my
sometimes
whopping
also.
Finger.
If you look at it, it's all kind of red. I'm not flipping you off.
Yeah,
Hard
right,
jar.
yeah.
As in pickle jar. Okay. You need to relax, man. Yeah.
He's like,
I do.
like that. What's going on? Just put the pencil down, man. Put it down. Good Lord.
And that's how I write. That's why I always prefer the computer, even the
Yeah,
iPad. And that's
I'd
a
say that
kind of a
that's-
subtopic that I wanted to get to, like using the iPad as an
It's a
education
supplement.
device, because it's really good at things like writing and
I know that since you began
Stuff.
using since you decided that it's okay to take your iPad to school now, and you've been using it more and more.
And I haven't really been writing notes, but
you have been coming home more often saying, "I wish they would just
assign an iPad to every single student.
Distribute iPads to every student."
If you think about it, you have all of the resources that you need to access. Mm-hmm. All of your OneDrive, your Google Drive, even social media.
Do you think that in all of what we have are cows and calves? We have cow, computer on wheels. So a computer, C-O on W wheels, cow. And, many years ago, they were computers. Mm-hmm. They still are computers. There's some labs that we have that have Apple Pro, like mega dollar cows.
I don't know what you're talking about. The iPad Pros?
The iPad, no, the Apple, the MacBook.
The MacBook Pros.
Pros, yeah. And then we have iPad Pros, and then we have an iPad cart. Mm-hmm. I wonder, do you think that we have enough carts to actually distribute an iPad to every student?
I mean, assign one so they take it home.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We don't need a cart for that.
Like, the teacher could just expect then that every child...
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to have an iPad cart.
Right. So I wouldn't have to always complain about not having one in my room.
This is an example of some notes that I took with the Apple Pencil. I'm able to just add all of these straight into OneNote, and I can even share these with different people that I'm collaborating with. It shows my name there. But I have all of my different classes in OneNote also. I can't really take notes on it because I haven't asked all my teachers yet if I can. But the really nice thing is, I guess, being able to navigate around on this, because it's easy to access your files, and it's really easy to switch between apps, switch between looking at Google Drive, and then looking at OneNote, and then looking at Twitter, and then you can go and say, okay, well, I want Twitter and Safari together so I can do my research on Safari and do everything else on Twitter, because it has the power of a laptop, especially with the file system that it has now in iOS 13.
That's because, it upgraded, right?
But it has the size of a tablet, so this is really easy to carry around. It's really convenient to just put on the desk, and it works out really well.
I know that Apple, when they first started...
Hold on, let me address... Could I address the chat quickly? Let's see. You need to relax. How to work a figure. I want a cow, or maybe strap it to my chest.
Yeah, it's a ching-ching. I'm telling you.
All right.
It's worth a lot of doleros.
Who pays for them all? That would be the government. The U.S. government gives money to schools.
Some of it's federal money, some of it's state money, some of it's money that's generated from taxpayers. Yeah, some of it's generated from taxpayers. Proposition 101 or whatever that when you vote in your local elections, you vote for. And our district is a district that are we a charter school or a magnet school? We're a magnet school. Mm-hmm. And so we service many districts, and so we have a large taxpayer base. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they we depending on the size of the school, so many federal dollars per student. So depending on how many warm bodies we have in our school, we get X number of dollars, and those dollars are spent then in ways that the administration seems fit. So every teacher gets a certain amount of money that they can spend in their classroom the way that they see fit, for supplies like glue sticks or ink cartridges for their inkjet printers, or scissors if we need scissors, staples, etc. Or the administration and even our superintendent of schools will determine then what we spend our money on.
But I really see where this is going. Like, well, why do we need to spend all this money on this? We already have, basically, because schools kind of have this notion that you gotta get it with the Apple. You always have to get the devices with the Apple. I don't agree with that, to be quite frank with you.
Apple has always marketed themselves as the educational device.
And back in the Apple II days, back in the Mac 128 days, yeah, that was the number one
But I think that this is...
Once Windows 95 came out.
You got something that allows your transfer now of files to happen much more...
Mm-hmm. And I'll show you that in just a second.
Okay.
But why would I want students to access Twitter? Well, it's... I guess the type of social media depends. So if you're talking about LinkedIn, let's say, that would be really good for building your resume. If you talk about Instagram and Twitter, there's a lot of different accounts that can really help students. There's a lot of political opinions that you can find on Twitter. Even in my English class, we read tweets. That would probably be something that I'm curious. Are you a teacher? Because I know that you said, why would I want students to access Twitter? So if you are a teacher, I think that it would probably be best for you to review all the different tweets before you send it to them.
Jacob
but
needs new
you could
Apple
do that.
devices.
Let's see. All your Apple devices are falling apart. Let's see. The kids nowadays need to get into internet security. It is about having your
resources right here. They're all right here. And I think in my classroom, it's frustrating because I teach a fine arts. I teach an elective. And I'd rather call it a fine art than an elective because you have to take a fine art in order to be a whole rounded student. But I don't get access to things like this. So my students really suffer in my classroom because we don't have everything that a student could have. And that's why I think it would be great to have every student issued an iPad at the beginning of their 4-year. We have 4 years of high school. At the beginning of their 4-year
they
entrance
break
into
it,
high
they
school.
pay for it.
Well, yeah, it has
they
to
sign
be
a waiver.
Well, yeah, it has to be something that's like that. I'm sure, but yeah, I mean, they would be able to bring it every day. It would. I mean, we would have hellish problems with it's not charged or
it's everything is right there. That's the big thing with the iPad. You have your files, you have your notes. You don't have to worry about losing papers. There are already the resources online with Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams.
It is a cell phone.
OneNote.
And you are right. And we did adopt a bring your own device policy, and we have like stipulations and regulations as to how you can control that. But I have an administration on one half of my campus that is very cell phone friendly, and on the other side of campus, not at all friendly. And will say we can't protect a teacher if you do not have a policy that stipulates you are going to collect those cell phones at the beginning of every class period.
And the reason
they do become a distraction. They can be used for some pretty horrible things, and have been in our classrooms, in a way that we teachers do not have eyes 360 degrees. We're not on a swivel. We don't have the capability of doing that. So we miss things that happen in our classroom. And so if something happens in my classroom, I have an administration that's not going to be somebody who's going to be very friendly toward that situation should a parent be upset and angry and want to sue me for defamation or bullying or whatever.
But the big thing is you need to have the proper restrictions on these devices, because you don't want kids to be able to access porn, access random social media, be able to take bad pictures. So you need to make sure that at least on school grounds that's being regulated, because it is a school device. It can be a distraction, just like the cell phones.
Right.
But the cell phones are... The cell phones are something that not every student has. So if you expect students to be able to use that, you kind of... It brings to a gray area. Like most people are going to have it. 99% now are probably going to have that. But that 1% could get really angry. And I was that 1% back in 7th grade, I believe. Like, I kind of refused to have a cell phone. I didn't want it. And that created a lot of problems because they always use this messaging app called Remind, which basically, if you want to get the reminds, you either have to check it every single night on your computer, or you have to have a cell phone. So issuing a school device like that would say, well, now we expect that you have this, so we can expect you to be able to use these resources.
These are the tools that we're going to use. As teachers, every teacher is on board. We're all going to use these tools.
I would be taking all the phones away. Let's see. So it's a matter of quicker resources, reduction of hearing books. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love being able to have college textbooks on my iPad because having to lug that thing around, having to purchase the paper, purchase the printing, that comes at a premium. So
The
being able
storage,
to
the
just
shipping,
rent out a book.
updating books, updating textbooks. When the new textbook title comes up for reapplication, it's much easier to purchase them on the device than it is to purchase them physically. Although there are some students that learn better tactily, but we have the ability with the iPad to push apps. So I have an iPad that might have absolutely nothing in my classroom that the history classroom has. And so when I have my iPads in my room, I can push certain apps to my device. Now I have an Apple iPad 3.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
In my room?
The cow?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have iPad 3s.
So I'm really limited.
Yeah, because they're from 2011. They can't really run the latest anything. Would a PC that would log you in be just as good, or do you need a tab? The thing with the tablet is the physical size. That's the only thing I like about this. Really. I prefer being able to run Windows on it because you can run full-sized applications. But the more people buy the iPads, the more app developers say, well, there's a need. Take Adobe, for example. They decided to release Photoshop for the iPad because a lot of people were using that, and now that's a crucial resource. Now I can be able to make quick edits on my Photoshops. Obviously, I don't want to. Obviously, I don't want to go through, do all my Photoshopping on this. That would just be really difficult. I'm gonna do that all on my 4-monitor setup over here. Same thing with schools. Like as an English teacher, you want to be able to give the students a keyboard to be able to type on, and probably a mouse, so they can scroll through all the different research and stuff like that.
I prefer my Surface.
So it really depends on the task, but I think for the general student, having a tablet would be easiest to be able to carry around and to be able to take notes on, especially.
Math teachers prefer this because they can use their pen to create the equations.
Oh, you're not being rude at all.
Push the equations
I'm actually
up.
really enjoying the conversation. I wanted to... Wait, go on. I'm sorry.
I just prefer... For my intents and purposes, for how I use a device, I prefer my Surface. And I prefer my Surface because I get the same capability of being able to write with my pen and use my pen as a mouse, etc., etc. Save files much easier than, now that this has been upgraded, it saves files pretty comparably, would you say?
Like the file system being, yeah, it's a lot better. Like I can put in
to me it's
this
still,
adapter cost me $16, and I can plug in a flash drive and access all the files on the flash drive right on iOS, which I think is awesome. New in iOS 13.
So I just find my Surface to be much easier to use, but as a theater teacher, I do a lot of filming in my class. So I film the performance, and then we do a playback and critique and offer instant feedback in that particular way. So I really do need to have both the Apple device and a Surface in my room. But I suppose math teachers would prefer an Apple device, whereas I would prefer a Surface. And I suppose some students would be...
It depends on the task also. It's like... I think that the Surface has a lot of flaws, honestly.
We could eliminate having an iPad cart because the students would be issued iPads, but then we would have carts that would actually have laptops.
I'm not sure. One point somebody made was being able to go into a library and check out a book and do your research. That's also important, and you need to keep that. It's a good research skill. I've been able to check out books, and although I don't read through the entire thing, obviously, it's just something to be able to go and have all of your information put into this one source. Oh yeah, you know what buttons to press, right? But I think that the future is honestly being able to find stuff on a database. And it's important to still teach students how to press it again. It's still important to teach students how to use a database correctly and how to do correct research on the internet. Here. Here. There we go. Not a matter of getting a book, matter of getting out of the house and finding information. And yes, I think that being able to go to a physical location also really helps with, what's wrong?
I gotta go to the restroom.
Okay. I think that being able to go out to a physical location really helps for focus and really helps to put you into the mindset of, I'm doing research now. But I think for general information purposes, like a random PowerPoint that you're putting together, I think that it's good to be able to go on to Google, go on to your library database or whatever, and just pull up a scholarly article, because it's really amazing like how fast you can find really good information on these database websites. You're basically saying I can get a degree laying on my bed. That's not discipline. Exactly. You need to be able to put in the effort and put in the dedication in order to get a degree. And a lot of the time, I think just putting yourself out there, like you were saying, going to the library, that's an important part of getting an education. You don't have that connection. Let's say if you're watching an online video about a class, you can't get that connection, that human teacher connection that's necessary for education. Let's see. Does it have to be iPad? They're so much more expensive. Are they more secure? The thing with iPad is that it's really good at taking notes and being able to condense all of your notes into one solid place. And I do know that they are a bit more expensive. This one I got for $250 though. So, although Android tablets probably would be cheaper than that, I think if you'd really try and get something that's like fast, at least as fast as this, you'd probably have to pay more than $250. And even if you're looking at laptops, like, yes, you could probably get a Chromebook for $100, but when you look at laptops that can do basically the same things as this, they're looking around like $300, $400. So I think for this it was a really good deal. It's really amazing. Yes, note-taking would be pro on iPad. Forget notebooks, waste paper. And the thing with notebooks is they're unreliable. You can, at least in my experience, it's like having to keep a binder with all these papers. I guess it's not hard to lose the papers, but it's easier to be able to have every single thing that you've done stored in one file, stored in one notebook, or one like digital whatever. I don't know what other note-taking apps there are. I normally use OneNote. And you know, that's a good point also, like waste of paper. Yeah, you can't use that excuse anymore if you're documented. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to ask Drama for Mama what's going on. Hold on 1 second. I will be back. I'll be back. Let's see, where's the audio output capture? Here we go. Alright, have a good night, and I will see you later. conversation and wish you all a good night. So, any last thoughts about this discussion about iPads?
I wish that We Count could go back to my school and say, hey, we count if we get iPads. That's what I hope.
Yeah,
That'd be really nice.
that's persuasion right there.
Yeah, if they could figure out, how to put an iPad in everybody's hands, I think that would.
Just use the iPads that are already in the cows.
It would benefit me.
Instead of putting them in the cows, put it in the students' hands.
I wouldn't have to ask my administrator every year. I wouldn't have to justify every year, look, I do use technology and my kids could benefit from this. So.
Instead of having
That'd
to
be neat.
put 30 iPads in every single classroom, all you'd have to do is put 30 iPads in 50 different classrooms.
Can I show you my new bottle?
Sure, but what is 30 times 50?
It's 1,500.
Instead of having to buy 1,500 iPads, plus the computers, plus all the other stuff, just buy
I really like mine.
600 iPads for 600 students and have them keep those iPads for 4 years. Don't have to upgrade them. You don't have to manage them. I think that, well, I guess you do have to manage them, but I think that they'd be a good proposition.
I do too.
So,
I definitely do.
you like your new bottle?
I do. I like my new bottle a lot. And see, this part comes out so I can add ice. Doesn't have to fit through this teeny tiny little hole.
So, what do you think the answer is for teacher shortage in the U.S.? Probably education.
I think that in the U.S., our teachers are
Underqualified.
well. I think that we do have teachers that come into into the business as very underqualified, and we've
people that don't want to
entry level. Our teacher pay in America went up quite a bit. So when I started teaching, from when I started teaching to what at an entry level to what teachers make now, huge, like a $40,000 increase, like a huge increase. But then that just taps out. So I've been in the business for almost 30 years, and I'm making
the same amount of money
30,000. Yeah, 30,000 more than a first year teacher is making, and I'm about tapped out. I'm at the peak of where I'm not going to make any. I'm not going to go up a step. What's what they call it? I'm not going to go up a step unless I get a master's or unless I get some
And why does
certification.
and why
or
does a
something.
classroom teacher need a master's degree?
You don't need a master's
You're
degree.
not going to be an administrator. You're not going to write any curriculum.
No, and if I do get a master's degree, then I'm going to be lured away. I'm going to say, why would I want to be in a classroom where a kid can fabricate something because they dislike me, or fabricate something because they're being dared to fabricate something, and then suddenly,
You don't have a
I
job.
don't have a job. I
And you
don't have a
can't get a
certificate.
job.
I don't have a, because I can't prove. I'm an advocate for putting a video camera in my classroom, because I know that I do my job well. I know that I motivate my students. I know that I am ethical, that I teach with principle. But
You can't have an administration that doesn't back teachers. That's the
and
issue.
I think that that's part of the shortage problem, that you might have a teacher come into our profession saying, hey, I'm going to make $40,000-$45,000 starting, but after 5 years they're either burnt out, or they make a realization that teaching is not an easy job. Although we do have teachers that sit back,
So
put it on auto
So
drive,
to answer
and
your
don't
question,
do anything. So
increase the pay steps, because Japan, they revere their teachers. They're more important than the lawyers. They're more important than the doctors, because guess who's teaching those lawyers and those doctors? The teachers. Guess what? Like, professors are great and all. They get paid a lot, but no student is going to have a professor unless they have a really good high school teacher, a really good middle school teacher, a really good elementary school teacher.
and
They
teachers,
teach all the fundamentals.
and-
All college professors do is the little bit extra.
Teachers don't realize, I think, or new teachers, well, teachers come to realize, let me put it that way. Teachers come to realize that you have to educate, just as I said at the start of the show, you have to educate the whole student. You don't educate just their mind. And that, for some teachers, is, I guess, not something that they really, I shouldn't say that, because I think that it takes a special kind of person to be a really good teacher. I don't know. I just think that in America we just undervalue and underpay our teachers. And I think that our teachers have just as difficult a job as our police officers, as our nurses, as our as any of our first responders, our firefighters. I think that our job is just as dangerous at times. Maybe not on a daily basis, but I am what's going to stop, in my classroom, what's going to stop a shooter from killing my students, because I tell every one of my students.
And you're a first responder also.
Well, yeah, and I have to be. And I tell every one of my students when we go through our drills for lockdowns that there's the scissors, there's the dictionary. You're going to grab what it is that you need, but you are going to stand behind me. Because if a shooter comes into the room and shoots anybody, it's going to be me that they're shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. Every teacher knows that. Every teacher knows that they will put their life on their line for their students. That's the way that it is. So, our job is just as dangerous as any first responder. Maybe not on a daily basis, but it is.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. First responded, good for you. Yep, you first responded to... You've never really had a big incident in class before, have you?
Well, we've had lockdowns that have been real before, but not lockdowns that have been real with like
an active shooter.
Yeah, an active.
Or like an active fire in the classroom, or have you had any medical emergencies other than like people puking on you?
Other than people puking on me, no. No, I haven't. But yeah, I mean, I have to be trained. I have to be CPR trained. I have to know how to use the little machine that pumps your heart. I need to know.
You think the corgi talk over the follow? Wait, hold on. No, it's okay. We're probably going to spin it down right now, but...
I'm sorry, you guys. I keep you talking, and you need to go.
No, we love talking. That's why we're here.
Yeah, we do love talking, but no, I just got a
headache.
bit of a headache. Yeah, I just got a bit of a headache today.
You want to see how to short circuit your device?
Don't do that.
It's charging itself.
Anyway, I so enjoyed our first conversation of 2020. I so enjoyed having all of you here. It was a pleasure meeting some of you. I hope to see you again very soon.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching. I loved
the conversations that we had. Please come with questions and concerns and topics, and I would love to sit and chat again very soon.
Very soon. Maybe even tomorrow.
Maybe even tomorrow. But until
we'll catch you later.
Until then, everybody take care. Stay safe, stay warm, and know that somebody loves you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye. 2020 is going to be lit. Thank you, Jake.